Is this thing on? What is up, everybody? Tuning in again to yet another video. I wanted to come at you with a little story video. I would call this a story video because it's a story video mixed with an advice video. It's kind of an interesting video, but that's fine. Today's video is sponsored by the Art Institute, which leads me into the topic of discussion today, which is college. The thing that people put so much stress on after high school, the thing that seems to be a make or break, the thing that is put on such a high pedestal. I know this is a very controversial topic because a lot of people have opinions on whether or not this is a good or bad thing. And I think it's a very good thing. And you need to make it good for you. And I think what is important about that is finding a school that is good for you. And I think the problem with that is that people had a very traditional mindset around schooling, but it's not traditional anymore, which is why there are new schools coming up like the Art Institutes that have programs that matter today: culinary, interior design, audio and film, gaming, virtual reality, fashion, things that matter in today's world. And I think when people used to go to college, they would think about, well, it's like a lawyer, it's like a doctor, it's like a businessman. It was like a very boxy thing. And this is why I like schools like the Art Institute so much, is because they let you explore your creativity through them, because there's so many courses and so many different classes in things that you probably are interested in. It's not just being a businessman or a lawyer. You know, they have locations all across the United States and an incredible amount of classes online. There's really no excuse to not be able to attend a school in which caters to you. Now you can study exactly what you want to be, because you can make a profession out of doing anything. And before, online schooling wasn't even a thing, and now we're in this generation where you can go to school all online. That wasn't a thing in the past, so it's not something that our parents know how to teach us. That's not something that they can talk to us about, because that wasn't something that was around when they were choosing what school they wanted to go to. The Art Institute is an amazing example of this. You know, their goal is to help students go farther than they ever thought. And I think that that is very possible, being that they have such a plethora of offerings online and in person, however you choose to take them. So be sure to check out the Art Institute's online classes right here. And then also be sure to check out their other offerings right here. But as far as my story went, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as I was leaving high school. I saw my friends going to university. I saw my friends getting accepted into the schools of their dreams. I saw a lot of pressure from not necessarily my parents, but just parents in general on where are you going to school? Do you have it all figured out yet? What are you going to major in? What kind of classes are you signing up for? This was a very heavy discussion, obviously, because it's a big deal. There was a lot of pressure around it. It was a very high pressure situation. And when you're a senior in high school and you're 18, you're tasked with a very large decision. That's not easy for anyone. College is a very big deal and something that you have to spend usually a substantial amount of money on. So you're also making a financial decision on top of potentially a life decision. For me, I was never super excited about the thought of pursuing education further. Not necessarily for any reason though. I just wasn't something that was intriguing to me, but it was displayed as something that I needed to do to be successful in life. And so I did. For me, I ended up getting some scholarship money to play soccer at my local community college. So that's just kind of where I drifted into. And it was just because I didn't really care, which I know is bad to say, but it wasn't something that I was thinking about a lot. And it is tough to have everything figured out. It is tough to make those big decisions. It is tough to try to wonder, what your future looks like I said, when you are only 18. But it is something that you should be putting thought into. Schooling isn't for everyone, and it never will be. But it is something now that can be molded to you. And even back then, I didn't necessarily have the mindset. I was still thinking that very traditional box fashion of what schooling was. Online schooling wasn't even an option for me. It was available, obviously, but it wasn't even something that I considered doing because it just seemed so far-fetched to me. But now there are schools that are fully online. You don't ever have to leave your home to pursue further education after high school. So the time and age has changed. But some of my advice would be, having gone this far, is do spend some time. Research, understand your options, and what is most important is just to figure out what you want to do. I wouldn't recommend jumping headfirst into something just because it sounds cool, or your friends are doing it, or your parents said you should do it. You should just end up doing something that you like to do and then find schooling around that. In today's age, you can make a profession out of anything. Making videos, playing video games. And so that's what you should be looking to go to school to do. You shouldn't be trying to say, well, you know, I really like video games, but I don't know if it'll pay the bills, so I'm gonna be a lawyer. You should say, well, I really like to play video games, so I'm gonna find somewhere that's conducive of my skill set and my mindset and where I wanna go. And then that's where you should make your decision, and that's where you should move forward with, because that's what you're gonna be most happy doing. I think the problem with school and why people don't do well in school is that they end up choosing something that they ultimately aren't happy doing. And this metaphor goes much farther than schooling. This is a life metaphor. When you're doing something that you aren't happy doing, it's very easy to give up, because when the going gets tough, there's nothing pulling you through it. There's nothing that makes you want to keep going. It's very easy to quit if you don't like it. If you don't like it and it's hard, I mean, you're gonna quit. If you like what you're doing but it's hard, you're gonna wanna continue because, well, it's really tough, but I'm still enjoying it. You know, I'm still having a good time. I still think it's fun. I still, you know, fill in the blank. Going back to my story, I ended up stopping college after my first year because I had a bad experience. I got the best grades in college that I ever did throughout my entire career. In high school, I wasn't necessarily the best student. I just didn't try hard. I wasn't dumb. I just didn't really care to try. You know, like A's, B's, and C's, B's and C's, just because it wasn't a priority to me to put a lot of effort into it. But when it came to college, I was like, this is the big leagues. This is a big deal. I'm gonna put a lot of effort into it. And I got like over a 3.5 that year, which for me was a very big deal. And so it wasn't that I was like failing academically, it's just something that I didn't agree with. And I attribute it to, going back to what I just told you guys, is I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just doing a bunch of like general, boring, like BS stuff. It didn't motivate me enough to continue. Although it is a big decision to further your education after high school, it's really a small decision. And that decision is just deciding what you like and then building around that. You decide one center thing, and this center thing is what do I like, and then you just build around that. Pick a place that is most conducive to what you like to do. I think that is the beautiful part of today, schools like the art institutes, that allow you to explore your creativity through creative classes that are shaped for today's world. That's what it comes down to. It's no longer just being a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman. Don't be discouraged because people say this won't make you money, because you can make money doing anything. So don't be afraid to further your education and pursue things that you like, even though it might not look like it'll make a lot of money. Do not base what you want to do on what the income is going to be later in life. Base it on your happiness, because at the end of the day, happiness matters most. And if I would have known that when I was going into school, I would have picked a school like the art institutes and chose some video classes and chose classes that I could further my creativity in, not choosing something that was mind-numbing to me, that actually brought me lower. I guess the major takeaway from this video is that if you guys haven't made it to being a senior in high school yet, you're gonna have a big decision to make. If you've already made that decision, it's not too late to change, but just understand the options that are out there. Understand that you can make a career doing anything in the world, and understand that at the base of all of this and life in general is happiness. And that's what's always going to matter more than anything, because you could be a billionaire and not be happy. I know this was a quick video. I know this was just me talking, but it is something that should be paid a lot of attention to, and it is something that is important. So take that into consideration. Sleep on it, sit on it, whatever you have to do. Don't get nervous for this decision. Explore your options. Look at places like the art institutes. Look at these new creative schools that are popping up, and really explore options and see what you can do, because chances are you can have a blast furthering your educations. You guys are gonna have an amazing time. You're all gonna make the right decision one day. It's not a big deal. Don't stress over it. Look at me, I turned out fine somehow. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love each and every one of you. Comment below what I should do more of, less of, or continue doing. Turn on post notifications, because YouTube isn't really notifying people when I make a video, so at least you can have a better chance. And subscribe, because it is only getting better. Take it easy. Peace.